Video. Connect.
Start your show now. Press 1 to hear important instructions.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. You've joined the Distinguished Black Gentleman Inc. show on Blog Talk Radio. We're also going live on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, do me a favor. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that thumbs up button. Let us know you're here. Let us know you're around. And go ahead and throw in your name. Go ahead and throw in who you are, where you're from, so we can know what city you're coming from. If there's anybody on, we're going to wait about 5 minutes till everybody start coming on. That way we can start the show with everybody on. My name is RJ Mack. I could be your host and your moderator today. I got my brothers today. I got my boy Angel in the house. I got my boy Courtney in the house, and we got our brother Juan again in the house today. We're going to be giving you some good word. We're going to be talking about some good topics today, but I'm going to give it about another 4 or 5 minutes before we really get into it. We already got somebody throwing something in the chat. How you doing, Jonathan? Thank you for joining us. Jonathan from Houston, Texas. Thank you for joining us today, Jonathan. Go ahead and hit that like, hit that share button, hit that thumbs up button. Let your people see what we're talking about. We're talking about some good things tonight. We're going to go over some good subjects. I'm going to go over the agenda in a few minutes. Like I said, I just want to get everybody on. Thank you for listening. If you're listening to the Blog Talk Radio show, we will be taking callers later on. We want to hear your voice. You don't have to just jump into the chat. We want to hear your voice. We want to talk to you. And that's about it. How y'all doing, brothers? Y'all go ahead and let the people know what y'all been up to this week. Go ahead, Angel, since you new to the show.
This week, like personally, nothing. Just being a dad, man, and taking care of classes and stuff like that. Like I told y'all before, the Small Business Administration reopened the application process for small businesses. So anybody out there with a small business, jump on it right now, because you can still maybe get that $10,000 in your business account to help out your business due to the COVID-19 pandemic and how it affected businesses, especially small businesses. And of course, our focus is on small Black businesses. So go ahead and do that.
All right, that's some good word for y'all to hear. Like Angel said, if you guys have a small business, go ahead and get on them funds before all those big businesses jump on it, because we know what happened the last time. We went straight to the big businesses. What's up, Courtney? How you been doing this week, man? Did he hear me? Or is he stuck again? Look like he's stuck. Yeah, I can move to Juan. Juan, what's been going on with you, brother?
Not too much. Spending a lot of good quality time with the kids. I do, when I get up in the morning, I do lunch runs. I go pick up lunch and breakfast for, kids in the neighborhood that they need the school lunch. You know what I'm saying? So I'll go to the bus stop, pick those up, and then I'll run around, just drop them off at different houses and stuff. And other than that, helping out neighbors that need help, going cutting trees off the houses and stuff, just helping out the best I can.
That's dope.
What up, Stu? Welcome, brother. We're glad to see you, man. Go ahead and hit that like and share button, Stu. Go ahead and hit them thumbs up. Let us know y'all here. And then share that with your friends. We got our boy Oscar Mike on here. He said he need that 10K. All right. He need that unit. Yeah, we good. It's 9:04. We got about 1 more minute. Then we're going to get the show started. What up, Ramos? I see you over there, brother. See you watching. I'm going to wave at you real quick. Wave. You know how I had to share this link. Uh-oh. I got to copy this crap. All right, so let's go ahead and share this screen for just another minute while we're waiting on everybody to join in. You brothers can get prepared, whatever you need to get prepared. We only got like a minute, though.
Warren got the whole Player Palace background going on. I'm
right.
It's my whole house, man. I sleep on the pool table.
You say you sleep on it? What?
Nah, I'm messing around. Studio apartment. Yeah.
Oh man,
That's dope right there.
I do like the Chris.
We got our crest now, people. If you could take a look at that, we're labeling ourselves like I told you every single week. We're going to try to grow. We're going to try to add some new things as we go. And we're going to cover some good stuff today. It is 9:05 on the dot. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and move on with the show. Let me go ahead and stop this. Am I still sharing my screen with y'all? No?
No.
Okay. All right, once again, thank you everybody for joining us. We are the distinguished Black gentlemen, and we are here to bring you a live show where we're going to discuss topics that affect not only our Black community, but it also affects our society as a whole. We have some good things that we're going to talk about today. First, we're going to do some news coverage. We're just going to go over some of the new updates that's been happening across our country. There's things that have been going on since we had our meeting and added our topics in there. Our main topic today is something that everyone's been talking about, which is defunding the police. We're going to break that down. The brothers are going to share their thoughts. We're going to let everybody know what we feel about that. And we're also going to look at an expert and what he said that actually means, because that name can be a little bit confusing. People think defunding the police means actually taking all the money away from them. But it means a whole other thing, and I think it's going to be good for society, honestly. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about the NBA and Kyrie Irving. He's been causing a quite big of a stench between the players and the league. And then we're going to talk about our boy, Bubba Wallace. That's my new favorite NASCAR driver. I ain't even have a NASCAR driver before Bubba. But Bubba, my favorite right now. We're going to talk about Bubba.
I have to go buy a NASCAR jacket.
Yeah, I know. We're going to talk about NASCAR, the Confederate flag. And then we're going to end the show with the moderator rants. And we're also going to bring you guys in, when you throw in your chats, we'll throw in your chats. And like I said, we got the Blog Talk Radio show going, and we want you to call in. The number's on the bottom of the screen, 845-277-9427. Thank you for anybody who's actually listening to the Blog Talk Radio show right now. Well, thank you for tuning in. If you want to see us on video, you can tune in on our YouTube channel, or you can tune in on our Facebook channel. Our Facebook, let me see what the actual link is real quick. I don't know by heart. So the Facebook URL is also obviously www.facebook.com/DBGINC. So you can go to our Facebook. We need you to go there, like our page, share our videos. Help us. You can support us in that way. You don't have to support us in any other way. So we're going to go ahead and start. This show is 9:08 Eastern. I don't know what time it is Pacific or Standard, because I don't do that math. I don't do that math. I'll be calling my kids seriously. All right. So we're going to move into our show, and I'm going to do a quick. We're not going to really talk about these current updates. They may be a main topic next week when we get ready to do another show. But for right now, we're just going to go over them real quick, because some of them just kind of dropped on us as of this week. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Trump and the White House. Looks like Trump has some issues with one of his former employees, so somebody he appointed, John Bolton. So he's coming out with a tell-all book. So Trump is suing him, trying to stop the book from going through. He's saying that Bolton didn't go through the proper channels to get his book reviewed. His book is most likely going to reveal some secret or confidential information, but Bolton and his lawyers dispute that claim. They say he went through the proper channels and he don't have any secret information or classified information included in his book. We all know why President Trump is trying to do this, because President Trump does not want some of the stuff that Bolton knows to come out. We don't really know if Bolton's lying, because Bolton is not a nice guy himself. He's a warmonger. He's just mad because him and Trump bumped heads they about some of the issues and how they were going to handle the Middle East. So keep up with that. CNN is covering it. A lot of other places are covering it. So that's some good news for you. We have our sister. Unfortunately, we want to send out a prayer to Watana family. The sister went down to Tallahassee, Florida, to do some protesting, and then she ended up, and then some brother. Well, it's sad that it was a black dude who did this. He ended up playing like he was clergyman. He ended up taking her and molesting her. She ended up dropping a tweet, as you can see on the left side, explaining what happened to her. It took them a couple of days to find her, but they ended up finding her and another woman dead that he assaulted. So big ups to her. And we're going to talk about protecting our black women later on, because that's ridiculous that she went down there to fight for rights and she got assaulted and murdered while she was doing that. All right. So let's move on to one of our main topics. As everyone has been watching the news, the Atlanta police officers were arrested and charged. They have been placed. Officer Devin Bronson on the left and Officer Garrett Rolfe. Garrett Rolfe was actually charged with murder and 11 other charges, while Devin was charged with assault and another charge. Devin is actually out right now on bond, and the police chief of Atlanta actually stepped down almost immediately. And as everybody knows, the folks burnt down that Wendy's where he was shot at, where Rashad was shot at and killed. And now, right now, since the police union and the Atlanta police, their reaction to all of this has been to walk away from the job, basically leaving Atlanta unprotected right now. The Atlanta Police Department is trying to get people from other areas to come in. We probably know that is not going to happen unless they offer these folks a lot of money. So we're going to talk about this one right here. And what I want to talk about more than just the actual issue of the child being killed and the people being charged and the officers being charged. Let's talk about this police union and these Atlanta PD walking out on their job. We're going to start off with Angel. Angel, go ahead and let us know your thoughts. How do you feel about the Atlanta PD walking off their job? What does this show to you as a citizen, as a black man? How does this show you how police really act when it comes down to these situations?
I think it speaks volumes of their personal code of ethics and moral. People want equal rights, equal justice when dealing with the police. You know, people just don't want to get. It's not about not getting charged with anything. It's about not getting killed. While getting arrested or whatever the case may be. So when I see all these police officers not responding to calls or walking out at work or whatever the case may be, that just tells me it's more important for them to kind of support the bad cops than to do the right thing. They always say, not all cops are bad, which of course, not all people are bad. You can say that about most things, but when you don't stand up for what's right and you would rather quit than do what's right, that just says a lot. I look at it as an opportunity for other people that could probably do a better job than them to get a job being a police officer. So if they want to leave, don't let them come back.
Thoughts, bro? I actually agree with you on that. I really personally, I don't know if any cops are listening, but I think police unions are probably the worst when it comes down to public relations. I think they make things a whole lot more worse with their response and how they respond to our issues. They seem like they hype the police up to do these type of things. All right, Juan, since you are a resident former police officer, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go ahead and speak on what your thoughts about this.
For people first now tuning in, Juan Newman, former deputy out here in Oakland County, Florida. My thoughts about it are actually I've got a couple thoughts about it. With as far as in the Atlanta police walking off the job, I fully understand why they did it. Most people want the police to require them to have a 2-year degree at least, or 4-year degree, or years of training. What other job requires somebody to have a 4-year degree for some of the shittiest pay in America? It's plain and simple. It's one of those things where you have to understand they're not getting paid a lot of pay. They're taking extreme risks because the average person on their job does not have to deal with what law enforcement has to deal with. 9 times out of 10, we're going to meet people in the worst situations in their life, the crisis moments in their life. And if they were able to deal with it themselves, it wouldn't need to call the police. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's a double-edged sword. If you're going to not want police around, then you're getting what you don't want, or you're getting what you want. You don't want the police there, so the police rolled out. It's one of those things where I think my initial reaction to this is, in all honesty, I watched the video the first time it came out. Everything was going fine until they started to handcuff him. Then he started fighting them. Me being in that situation, if someone fights me and takes off running, I'm taking off after them. He's already taken the taser away. He turned around, pointed something at him, which happened to be the taser. Taser makes a loud explosion when you fire it. And the confetti that marks where they fire it goes everywhere. There's dust everywhere when they fire it. So it looks just like a gun being fired at you. 9 times out of 10, you're running from a cop, you turn around and shoot at them, you're going to get aired out. It's an unfortunate situation, but at a certain point, personal accountability plays into that.
All right. Well, and thank you for your comments, man. We appreciate your thoughts. It's good to hear things from a different perspective, especially from someone who's in law enforcement, because you do see it from a different point of view than we do sometimes, because it's your job. And so that is a good job. Let's see what our Facebook people are saying. Stu said the media did that on purpose, defunding the police. Oh, we ain't on that yet, Stu. Xavier says, I love this topic. I have some newfound info on how this could work out for us as far as the police. I don't know. I think he's talking about something else too. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Courtney. Let you go ahead and spit your thoughts on this situation where the Atlanta police walked off the job.
I didn't really watch the video. I read all the accounts or whatever. When they said he took the taser or whatever, in my mind, it was like, why? I didn't understand why he was trying to fight or why he ran in the first place. Maybe he thought he was, I don't know. You know, you wake up drunk in a situation, you don't know. So I couldn't really make a justification then. But then it's just one of those in the moment things, man. Like at the climate that we're in now, like they couldn't risk not charging that cop, because if they didn't charge that cop, if they just walked away and said it was justified shooting, they burn that whole city down. Like it's just a Wendy's right now. So they had to do that. As far as them walking off of the job, I honestly cannot have no respect for that. I mean, we served our country. We did stuff that we didn't want to do every day. You know what I mean? We got no choice but to do it. It's no walking off the job. And you took an oath to do that stuff regardless of if people liked you or not. You know what I mean? You took an oath to serve and protect, or whatever the oath is. I don't really know what the police department oath is. But they took an oath, and by them just sitting there, just letting them go, they pretty much derelicted their duty. So I'm with Angel when he says, don't let them come back. Bring in all new folks. Give them a raise. Hey, we're offering such and such, such and such. Bring in all new officers.
They're going to have to. It's like the replacements. They have to bring in somebody to do it. Like you said, don't let them come back if you quit. Basically.
Yeah, you didn't sign up for that. You didn't sign up on that job to be liked all the time. So that's no excuse. I'm sorry. There's no excuse.
Before you comment, let me go ahead and add, because people are really kind of commenting on the issue, on the situation. And I want to add some actual facts to why the police officers were charged. This is according to CNN News.com. Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard said that the former Atlanta police officer Garrett Wolf kicked Rashad Brooks while he was on the ground, while he was there fighting for his life. And they also stated that once Mr. Brooks was shot, there is an Atlanta policy that requires the officers to provide timely medical attention to Mr. Brooks or to anyone who is injured. But after Mr. Brooks was shot for some period of 2 minutes, 12 seconds, there was no medical attention applied to him. Also, you can hear In the video, just to add, if you actually watch the full video, they keep dropping the video in different portions. He said at the end, "I got him. I got him."
I thought somebody said that.
He hit a target. I got him. All right, Juan, go ahead. You can add what you wanted to say in there.
Well, not in that specific situation right there, but just in broad spectrum general with law enforcement. Law enforcement isn't the military. You don't sign a contract in law enforcement. You take a job just like any other job. Now, you are sworn into your role as a deputy, and I'm pretty sure as policeman too, but that doesn't mean that you cannot quit. And generally, cops are humans too. You get fed up with it. You get fed up with, like me personally, every day on the job getting called nigger, not just by white people, but by black people too. Called Uncle Tom, sellout, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. I'm there to enforce the law, plain and simple. I'm not going to say, well, stop breaking the law or anything like that, because in some instances, people weren't breaking the law, and it's plain and simple. All right, have a good day, and everything. It's a lot of times, though, when you step into a situation as a cop, it's some of the worst situations you'll ever see in your life. Talking dead kids, dead families, just torture, all types of stuff like that, rape. It's disgusting, some of the things you step into, but when you turn around and your top, just to me, they threw him under the bus, because yes, they fired him right there, but the proper thing to do is, if you're going to fire somebody, or if you know you're going to fire somebody, send them home on leave, either paid or unpaid, until the investigation's done, and then fire their ass and charge them. Who knows how this is going to play out in court, because that's up to the judges and everything, but I don't know. I think it was a knee-jerk reaction just to fire him on the spot like that.
They didn't do that in Minneapolis. I mean,
Minnesota?
They didn't do that in Minnesota. Didn't they fire him like a day after or something like that?
Yeah, they put him on administrative leave while they did.
On administrative leave, and then they fired him a couple days later.
They fired him and they charged him.
That's usually the process that we've seen. But you got to remember, Atlanta is a black ran city. They got a black mayor. They have black, it's a lot of black, and we've seen what the outcome can come in Atlanta when things happen. I don't really know what to say in response to you, Juan, because that is the process that we usually saw. But like I said, though, like I just read, there's been evidence that this was egregious. He didn't really have to shoot him in the back at all. He shot into a parking lot full. If you see the video, you see that parking lot was full. Wendy's was full. He shot into a parking lot full of people.
But you do realize the very first shot that was fired was from that taser. If somebody's got my taser and they're running from me, plain and simple, I don't know if it's a taser or not. He's turning around shooting at me.
What's the taser go? You know he got your taser. What's the taser going to do? You can see a big old taser.
Oh, hold on. Now, I got to correct that. A taser is lethal. That's why it's called less lethal. It's still a device. It can still be lethal.
Okay, let's go ahead and hit Facebook real quick. Jonathan wrote a paragraph, so let's see what he had to say. With cities being hotbeds for crimes for people all the races, I like your inputs on how much of this complex issue is scapegoating the police for other issues in the background. We have an opioid crisis, right? We have a broken prison system, right? That makes us the nation. That makes us the nation with the most people per capita in prison. The history of white flight from urban areas to suburbs that keep minorities from moving in, terribly funding for our inner cities. You can see our brother is a light-skinned brother too. So we getting that from him. Let's see what other comments we have in here. Tasha says, what should they have done in this situation then? So that's what that's probably going at you, Juan. What should they have done? And I think Juan kind of touched on that when he said he should have been put on administrative leave first, and then the investigation done, and then am I right, Juan?
I think she was talking about what the cops should have done.
He did afterwards. Which situation is she talking about? Is it a situation?
I think she's talking about what the cops should have done.
How the city responded to the police by firing them automatically. For which situation?
Well, no, that comment's been up before we got onto that. I think she's talking about like with the cops themselves. In all honesty, in that situation, it's armchair quarterback and trying to say, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. Because when a fight breaks out, if you watch the video, the cops weren't expecting a fight to break out. He just, while they were putting the handcuffs on him, 1 second he's calm, the next second he breaks bad on him. And when the fight's on, the fight's on. You're running off of adrenaline the whole 9 yards. Not saying that there's no personal accountability on anybody's part. Everybody needs to own up to what happened in that situation. But the main thing is if someone's running from you and you're chasing them, then they turn around and point something at you, and you hear that flash, or you see the flash and hear that loud bang. Whether he's got my taser or not, I'm gonna automatically think he just shot at me. And generally, he's not in his right mind because he's under the influence of alcohol. But what do you expect to happen? You're chasing somebody down the block, they turn around and you see a flash and hear a loud bang. You're gonna think they shot at you. You know.
I got a question for you. One, do you
correct me if I'm wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong. And I was watching one of the lawyers or whatever that were talking about it last night, but they said that the cop knew that the cartridge had already been deployed in that stun gun, in that taser. I'm sorry.
The thing about tasers is right now you have several different models of tasers. Some can fire more than one round or one cartridge. Like the newer tasers our agency has 2 cartridges, and you can alternate who you're shocking at the same time. The other thing about a taser is most tasers set to 5 or 10 second stun burst. Mm-hmm. If you hold that trigger down, though, that overrides that. So you can have somebody locked up on the ground. You can walk over, get a drink, smoke a cigarette, and then stomp them to death. It all depends.
Tasha did. That's what Tasha was asking. She clarified that. Yes. How should the cop have responded to the altercation? I just got one more question before we move on. In certain situations, though, like I remember reading about Cat Williams, and he was driving a motorbike down, like a little motorcycle down the sidewalk in Sacramento. The cops made a decision to let him go because of public safety and to pursue him later, just to give him a warrant. Could the cops have done that in that situation?
They could have, but 9 times out of 10, when a fight breaks out like that and they're within reach, you're going to try and get him. Now, if he's driving around in a car, our agency and most surrounding agencies over here, depending on the time of day and the traffic, how heavy the traffic is, we'll call off a chase if the officers don't call it off themselves. Because I'm not for a moving traffic violation. I don't care if somebody's got a kilo of cocaine hanging out the window. I'm not going to chase you down a crowded street hitting 80, 90, 100 miles an hour when it's school buses letting out and stuff like that. It's not worth it. I don't care if somebody's got a kilo of cocaine hanging out.
Oh, my God.
Well, what I feel, what could have happened. I mean, we could and should, all day long. But given the current climate, given what was going on, and, you saw the video of him talking to the police officer for over 20 minutes, very calm or whatever like that. When they first approached the car, they said, hey, pull your car up over there. I mean, I guess they didn't know he was drunk at that point. They just thought he was sleeping. He pulled your car up over there. He did that fine. He came out talking. Good. He told him that his sister's house was right up the street. They already had the car. They had his ID, and only because of the current climate. You know what I'm saying? This is the only reason why I'm saying this. As a police officer, if I was a police officer, I'm sorry. I would have just been like, if his sister's right there, let's escort him to his sister's house. We got the car, we got the ID. Y'all can do what y'all got to do, later on or whatever like that. And they could have avoided all that. Now, again, I'm not a police officer. I don't know what y'all able to do by law or whatever like that, but that's a way to kind of avoid that type of stuff. Again, only because of the current climate, though. All
right, we're going to get ready to move on. I know you got something else to say, Courtney. We'll bring the topic back up real quick. But I do want to leave this. Think about this. Is it really surprising that black men are scared to be arrested right now? Is it really surprising that a black man is scared to be put in handcuffs right now?
Didn't the white guy on the other side of Atlanta get arrested for the same thing? And they didn't shoot him.
Mm-hmm. Did he fight him?
Yeah. Like he shot him with the taser.
Mm-hmm.
A cop with the taser?
Yeah, he shot a cop with a taser. They took him down.
Yeah, that happened. All right, we're going to move on to our other main topic. We're going to move on to defunding the police. We're still talking about police. Police are a big hot topic right now. So the big hot topic right now is defunding the police. A lot of people are kind of confused on what that actually means. Some people think that means shutting police stations down. Some people mean that. But from what I've seen, is basically a restructuring of the police force. And I just want to go over the CNN article that I found because they talked to an expert, and I think he said something really profound. Like he explained it a lot better than I could. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen real quickly if I can find that out. And we will get to your Facebook comments in a second, but we want to go ahead and get to this. So, like I said, this is coming from CNN article. I have the reference down there. You can go read it if you want to. This is Philip McHarris. He's a lead research and policy associate at the Community Resource Hub for Safety and Accountability. He's also a candidate for a sociology doctor degree at Yale University. And this is what he said: since Floyd's death, city councils in more than a dozen cities, including Minneapolis, New York, and Washington, have proposed reductions in their police department's annual budget. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti has embraced a more limited role for the city's police department. Congress, too, has proposed legislation that addresses police violence and aims to vote on the bill that by the end of June. The words "defund police" now appear in giant yellow letters along 16th Street in Washington, D.C., mere blocks from the White House, and made indelible on street mapping software. Some supporters of the divestment want to reallocate some, but not all, funds away from police departments to social services and reduce their contact with the public to reduce the likelihood of police violence. Those seeking to disband police consider defunding as an initial step toward that, creating an entirely different model of the community. The concept exists on a spectrum, and the two aren't dishonous but interconnected, but both interpretations centered on re-imaging what public safety looks like, shifting resources away from law enforcement toward community resources. It also means dismantling the idea that police are public stewards meant to protect communities. Many Black Americans and other people of color don't feel protected by the police. All right, once again, that came from CNN.com. You guys can go check that out. It was an article written by Andrew, and we'll go ahead and get your thoughts on that, fellas, like real quickly. But basically, what he's saying is, and what I read furthermore in that article is pretty much instead of having police show up for mental health issues, you have a social worker show up. You have someone show up that is actually trained to speak with people with mental health issues, because what I've seen, police departments only have a few. That they have a few police officers that are trained into dealing with mental health people, because most of the people that are shot by police are mental health people. A lot of these incidents happen with mental health people. A lot of the people that white people say, oh, white people get killed too. Those are mental health. Those are people with mental issues, and that got killed for no reason, like the guy who got choked out, just like in Minnesota. All right, so let's go ahead and go down to Courtney, since we started off at the top the last time. Courtney, what's your thoughts on what we just read?
Defunding the police. From what I've learned about it, I actually support the cause just because of the things you're talking about, putting resources in other places. I also would like them to put resources more into training and all that stuff. Like one brought up training earlier about a 4-year degree and all this stuff. I wouldn't expect a cop to have a 4-year degree, but as they do in other countries, they do have a higher level of education. They have more training. They go through a longer period of training, and then they have a longer period of on-the-job training. So I do support that in that area, as long as they're going to put it somewhere that's going to work, because all the reform that they've done so far, they added the body count. That hasn't really had an improvement on how they treat people when they have them in custody. Then they have other things that they've added, other bills that they added that really haven't done anything to sway them in any particular direction on how they treat people. So I'm definitely down for defunding them, drawing down the forces, putting it in other areas of the community so that people actually get the help that they need, and you're not getting taken to jail because you're homeless. You know what I mean? You're not getting taken to jail because you and your wife couldn't decide what you ate, and since the police come out, somebody's got to go to jail. You know what I mean? So the money could go to other places, but I also think that they shouldn't. There's a rumor about defunding the police to get rid of the police. Like, we need police. We need police officers. We need people to be around, and even if it's just the image of, oh, it's a police car over there, we can't do anything. You know what I mean? You need a presence in the neighborhood, but they need to focus on building the neighborhoods that they're attached to, instead of just going out there to make arrests for no.
Good points, brother. Hey, just to make another announcement for those of you who just joined us, you joined the Distinguished Black Gentleman Inc. show, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that love button, hit that like button, and share it with us. We're going over defunding of the police departments, what that actually means. You're hearing some good word from these brothers. What Oscar Mike threw in there is put the money into youth services and invest more in the community development programs. I think that's what the article really talked about when he said putting the money back into the community. You do know that is right. Go ahead. All right, Angel, go ahead and give us your thoughts on what defunding the police and what was talked about in that article is.
I think, first of all, just it was poor wording using defunding. And I think that was almost done purposely to confuse people and create more of a rift. In society, most people aren't going to do the deep dive to really, understand what they meant by that. I agree with Courtney 100%. As far as putting more money into the training of the police officer. If you invest into something, the quality of that thing is going to be higher. It's going to be of greater quality. Me and him were both stationed in Germany and dealing with the Polizei. Their requirements are pretty up there, and I think they have to have like a 4-year degree, but like you said, I wouldn't expect a 4-year degree, maybe a 2-year degree, and then they have to get classes on, actual law. It seems like a lot of cops don't even know the law themselves, and they're supposed to be upholding the law. But more importantly, I think when we start taking this money away so they don't have these military grade weapons and all that type of stuff, and that we have to, they have to take additional training and maybe psychological evaluations, you're going to see that a lot of cops, just like the ones that walked off in Atlanta, are going to be walking off these courses because they're not going to want to comply with those new rules. And I don't see a problem with that. We don't want those people that don't want to see an improvement. Some of these people have been on the force for years. It's going to be kind of hard to deprogram them and then have them do what needs to be done. So it's going to take new blood in there to do that. But to get that new blood in there, this whole thing has got to be broken down to its foundation, and then from there built all the way back up.
All right, yeah. I mean, that kind of goes with Courtney's burn it all down statement. Courtney said, burn it all down, rebuild it back up. All right, Juan, let's get your thoughts and feelings on this. How do you feel about this subject about defunding the police department and actually taking some of their duties away as a former police officer? Does that sound like something that's appealing to you? Like, did you feel overworked? Did you feel like you guys had too much responsibility?
No, it was definitely for the amount of people that we have. It's just we're always overworked as far as in not having the numbers that we need. The one thing I have to share is the average police officer, when he's starting out, if he's lucky, will make $30,000 a year. When you're talking about other countries that require the 4-year degrees and stuff like that, you're talking about them starting off at $70,000 a year and stuff. It attracts a lot more people that would like to make that money. The thing is this, though, when you look at the responsibilities that you have to make split-second decisions as law enforcement officers, just in the state, and I brought the book out, just in the state of Florida alone, this is the Florida state statutes book. You pretty much have to have this book memorized so you can make decisions off the fly, off the cuff, whether it's somebody needs to go to jail or not for beating somebody, or whether you need to put a warrant out for them, what's considered felony, what's considered misdemeanor, just different situations. You pretty much have to have that memorized so you can fly off the cuff and make split-second decisions. That's a lot of stuff that you've got to keep up with, especially if someone's fighting you or the whole 9 yards like that. The one thing I will encourage people to do, though, is when we're talking about defunding police, I'm a big fan for training, but a lot of the law enforcement training classes are so expensive, agencies can only send maybe 3 or 4 people to them at a time. It's just, if you want to defund somebody, defund some of these people that are running the courses and stuff like that, to charge an arm and a leg to teach the class. The other thing is, it's just, I know that a lot of people aren't happy to see law enforcement officers walk off the job, but like I said, it's not a military contract. We always have the right to walk off the job, just like moral standards. If you're going to hold law enforcement officers to the moral standard of, hey, why are you walking off the job, then hold the people that are breaking the law to the moral standard too. You can't have it one way or the other. You have to, fair is fair down the line. If you're going to hold us to the standard of it has to be straight down the line every time, then it needs to be straight down the line anytime. What are you doing drunk in a parking lot? Plain and simple.
Oh, the one I gotta interrupt you on that one, bro. If I walked off my job, guess what? Guess what happens to me?
What's
Fire.
that?
I'm fired.
That's what happened to them.
I agree with everything. I agree with everything you said, one. But
I
you
agree
walk off
with
the job, you ain't got no job.
Walking off your job, you are fired.
You know they are going to be fired,
You
right?
gave up your job.
You know they are going to be fired, right?
That's why we have these laws, but it's about law enforcement actually enforcing it the right way and in a fair way.
What would you have done?
That we're supposed to be at as a republic, as the people, as the population. You know,
if my boss actually set me down, or if I heard my boss actually say, this is what that person did wrong, like that DA just said, this is what they did wrong, this, that, and the third, then okay, that's one thing. But if I felt like the person was done injustice and nobody could explain to me why that person was done that way, then yeah, maybe we can all stand up for our rights. But this is done across the board, bro. Across the board. Police unions throw up a fit no matter what. That cop gotta be Denzel Washington off of
Bro, they stood up for they stood up for the cops that pushed the old white dude down and fractured his floor.
They turned their backs on the mayor in New York back in the Eric Garner turn. The union is the one who organized that. So it's not really just it's not that cut and cut. It's like you walk off your job, homie, you done. If I don't show up to work tomorrow, if I don't call in or go through the proper channels, guess what? I'm done.
Nah, hey, well, you got to work that out with your job as far as not being able to call in sick. Because
I can call in sick. I'm saying if I don't go through the proper channels,
they're done. Rest assured, they're done. In my job, you walk off the job, you're fired. Plain and simple. I can't. Hey, boss. Hey, look.
They did that in Minnesota. I think it was.
I want to ask a question. She said teachers walk off. What teachers do is they actually protest. These cops aren't protesting. They just left.
Yeah.
They just left. And teachers are fighting for their rights when they protest. They're fighting for benefits. They're fighting for jobs. They're not walking off because some teacher got fired for beating up a student. It's like a totally different thing.
That's true.
To have order. It's just the corruption that needs to be addressed. I have friends that are in law enforcement. The abuse of power is an issue. I mean, I've lived next door to cops, and I swear to God, they act like they're the gods of the neighborhoods. Because everybody's scared that they can get arrested.
Like when we're talking about training, I'm not just talking about stuff in the field. Like I think cops need to have like they need to have like counseling so they can go depressed. Like you can do this stuff once a week, twice a month, something like that. Just have them a way to release pressure. You know what I mean? Because I know being a cop is a hard job. So they need to add more benefits. They can take their money away from buying a freaking tank and put that money into something else what officers would benefit more from.
You know, a lot of times people or law enforcement agencies get that special equipment for pennies on the dollar because, like I was saying before, that's Army surplus and military surplus. But one thing I will say,
it's still money that they don't need to spend. It's still money that they don't need to spend. They can, those pennies on the dollars that they spending in those areas, they can put that towards bettering the police force, mentally, physically, emotionally.
Tasha, you're right. They are fired when they're not union. When they're teachers and they're not unionized and they do that, they do get fired. But once again, those are teachers fighting for their rights. These cops ain't fighting for no rights. These cops are mad that something happened to a fellow officer that they know is wrong. Like I said, one, they got explained to. They did not provide the proper what the DA said.
I ain't gonna lie. This is one reason I didn't go into law enforcement because I didn't want to fight this battle every day. I already survived the military life. I didn't want to fight this battle.
I didn't want to do this every day too. I got an offer to be in Capitol Police.
Can I say something real important though? Real important. Pretty much every agency has a ride-along program, or at least they should. Go out and do a ride-along with them. See what they're having to go through. Not saying justifying or anything like that, but go see what an average day in the life of a cop is like doing their job. The ride-along. It's not easy. It's not easy.
I don't think anybody says a cop's job is easy.
No.
Nobody believes that.
I can't hear you. Say again.
I don't think anybody believes that a cop's job is easy.
No.
We all know it's one of the hardest jobs in the world to do.
I know. But another example I want to say is, you remember in Atlanta where the cop shoved the woman that was protesting down and the sister stepped up and chewed him out, and she saw something wrong. She stepped up and said something about it. That's what we need. Instead of fuck the police, we need, or excuse my language, instead of that, we need to actually teach young men and women and minorities, hey, it's not a bad job to have because you're going to be helping out the community. To get in there, be in that position to where you can say something when you see something wrong.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It doesn't work. If you're relying on someone else to make it better for us, it's not going to work. That's another thing, personal accountability. We have to make it better for us we need to drop the whole stop snitching code and all that crap. We need to put people with integrity in those positions that can make it work for us.
Juan, I was going to ask you about that because I read that in one of the articles I was reading about defunding. They also brought it up on the Joe Rogan podcast. How much did you like go to any neighborhoods and pick up the kids and take them on like the ride along?
With our agency, you have to be 18 years old to go on ride-alongs just because of the inherent danger that riding along with a cop comes into place. But in our agency, Okaloosa County, we have what they call the Explorers, which Captain Mark Race, I'm not for sure if he still runs it or not, but great individual. He runs it. I mean, we have the Teen Drivers Challenge where we take less fortunate kids or anybody that wants to bring their kid there. We actually teach them how to drive cars. We will put them through the cop obstacle course too, as well, for that we have to pass through the state academies to learn how to drive cars in pursuits and whatnot. Now we won't let them go at full speed like we do when we go through it, but still it gives them experience. It shows them the obstacles they're going to meet while they're out on the road.
Do you think that fosters a better relationship between the police force and the community that it's involved with?
Oh, without a doubt it does. Without a doubt it does.
So wouldn't that be an issue if police departments aren't doing that? Like if they're just putting people in the area just to go collect numbers and get bodies?
I'm not understanding the question.
Like, wouldn't it be better if police forces allocated time towards that instead of, because a lot of police forces don't do that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's a manning issue. We don't have the numbers to do it in big waves because nobody wants the job.
I've had good, like when I lived in Santa Clara County, they had a POW, POW program where you go in and sign in. They my son took wrestling classes under that program, and there were police there. We went to the high school, and they had the high school coach. He was like a championship coach there. I think they also had judo, and they may have had a soccer league. But it was only one officer that dealt with everything. Because I remember, I can't remember his name, but yeah, you're right. If they don't have the manpower to do it, it's a pretty good thing to do. All right,
that's what we need to get more of us in there to help out and do the job. You know,
Tasha said, excellent point, Courtney. It's a double-edged sword. I think that is wrong what happened, but it's volatile all around. Jonathan said, I think cops suffer from a similar problem the military does, where there is a stigma against police to get mental help. But internally with the force and from their leadership, it certainly seems like it takes a mental toll on people to change them. How many of these bad cops were good before hitting the streets? I do want to bring up one thing that they did find out, that there are a lot of police departments have gangs. They have a culture within where they bang against each other, like bang, bang, like you mess with them. They don't even mess with each other. I personally believe they're like someone who, I think Angel Point, there needs to be a full culture change. Full on change. Yeah, LAPD has gangs, bro.
Like gangs within
gangs within the police department. They have gangs. Like they join they have gangs. They actually had, if you go on YouTube, they have an interview with, I think he's Hispanic. He looks kind of Hispanic but white. And they have an interview with him. He was charged with something. He's doing his grand jury. And he gives up everything, bro. They got gangs. They bang against each other. They don't.
I did not want to deal with the politics on the inside and out.
Department? Nah. If you black, we don't mess with you. If you Hispanic, we don't mess with you. If you ain't from this, if you ain't claiming what we claim, we won't mess with you.
So that's the wrong mentality to have right there. You don't deserve to wear the badge if you've got a mentality like that.
Exactly. All right, we got Shay Moore. She just joined us. Everyone would have a different outlook on the force if the U.S. made it mandatory for everyone to serve in a social service position.
I don't think so. I disagree, because that's the same argument people make with the military. Everybody should
they got drafted. They hate the military to the death.
Everybody ain't made for it.
You want them all.
All right, let's go ahead and remind the people. Thank you all for joining us. People that have joined us just in the Distinguished Black Gentleman Inc. show. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook, and we're also on Blog Talk Radio. Those who have called Blog Talk Radio, I did see you holding. I'm sorry, we're not taking calls just now. If you want to call, maybe in the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes, we'll be able to bring you on. But for right now, we're not taking any live calls because we're still discussing things. Right now, we're going over Defunding the Police. We're about to move on to our next subject because we've been on this for a while. We're going to talk about what everybody's been, this new Netflix movie everybody's been talking about, The Five Bloods. I watched it. I thought it was an awesome movie. Spike Lee really came with it, but that boy, Delroy Lindo, man, his performance, if he don't get an Oscar, I don't know how you get an Oscar off for that.
Oh yeah, they taking Netflix Oscars this year too.
That was awesome. We're just gonna do a roundabout table on this one. The reason why we're talking about this too is because we talked about it in our group. Spike did a very good job of putting some historical facts or some things in there that some of us didn't really think about, about what the black soldier had to go through while they were over in Vietnam, especially hearing about what was going on in the United States. Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated during the Vietnam conflict. There was a lot of riots and stuff that went down after he was assassinated. And so those brothers, some of them didn't even hear about it because their commands kind of blocked them from hearing about it. The rest of them either heard it from letters from their families, or when they called their families, or they actually heard it from the Vietnamese themselves over the radio. Which is
the Viet Cong.
Yeah, Viet Cong themselves, leaving flyers and radio shows, and when they ran into them in the bush, they like, black man, why you out here? Most of us grew up with fathers who fought into the Vietnam War. It wasn't just Delroy that showed signs of PTSD. All the characters kind of showed signs of it. Delroy was just the most extreme. But as you watch the movie and you go throughout it, all of them start showing signs of it. All right, so who wants to go first? I ain't gonna pick nobody. Just go. Give us your thoughts about the movie and what it kind of got your mind and thinking about.
I'll just say that I really don't like watching a lot of that stuff because I get tired of going through the whole history of everything. But I'm glad because it was entertaining as well as informative. Spike did a hell of a job, especially, he could have the cut scenes where they were deployed at 45 years old. That was a little.
Yeah.
I was kind of tripping on that too.
Besides that, I enjoyed the movie, man. It dropped a lot of jewels, and what the thing we were talking about yesterday that really stuck out to me is when what was his name? Floyd, the guy with the gray hair that had the one with the
character's name.
Otis?
The one that planned the trip, the one that had the pistol.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the one who had the
It's just crazy how wars happen and you leave children all over the world, and then the perception that the white man carried over to Vietnam about the black man was transferred over to the Viet Cong. Like she actually broke it down and she was like, the white man called you nigger. Like we respected in the community, you know what I mean? And like that has happened all over the world because of the way a race has portrayed us to the outside world.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen that. I saw it in Thailand when I went to Thailand. I've seen it in Japan when I went to Japan. There's a lot of black babies running around there, bro, from us. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to check and see. We might have a knock on y'all doors from Germany.
No, don't you even do that. Don't you do that.
Hello, Papa.
Hold on, let me go get my cross, man.
Real.
All right, Angel, go ahead and give us your thoughts about the movies. What did it spark in your mind? What scenes caught your eye, and what did you think about it overall?
I think I really enjoyed that part where the North Vietnamese propaganda radio got on there and let them know about what was happening back home with Dr. King's assassination. And from an intelligence point of view, that was brilliant for the Viet Cong to do that.
Yeah.
That was brilliant for the Viet Cong to do that. Like, why are you fighting over here where you should be fighting back home because they're not even treating you like citizens? You over here killing us, and You know, they basically saying that we will probably be on the same level as you back in your country, fight the same. You know, and I thought that was brilliant, and I'm really glad that Spike brought that in, because that's another layer that most people don't see. You know, that's another thing people don't see when they're talking about war and our experiences as minorities in the military and war. Now, of course, we didn't have it like my stepdaddy. He was in the Vietnam War, and you know, he talked about coming back and people spitting on him and calling him a baby killer. He said that was just one side of it. He said when I got back, you know, he was from South Carolina. He was like, I was still a nigga, no matter what. No matter what I did, how many people I killed, how I served my country, whatever like that. He was like, I was still a nigga, you know. So he said it really didn't matter, because he used to always say, every time I came back from a deployment, he was like, did they throw you another parade? You know, because he just saw how we were treated coming back from deployments and everything, and how they were treated, which was terrible. But I like the fact that Spike shed light on that. I think that was a really good part of the movie. It made a lot of sense. Really about it.
That to me, I mean, it was a great plot. It was a great storyline, but that was the best part to me, was just the flashbacks and the historical, and talking about how it was being a black man fighting over there. Spike did an awesome job. One, you didn't watch the movie, but you gave us a lot of thoughts on why you didn't rush to watch the movie. And some people did experience what you experienced, bro. So if you don't mind sharing your story and sharing your experience and why you haven't really ran to watch the movie yet, we'd love to hear it, bro, if you don't mind.
I didn't watch the movie yet. I'm planning on watching it this weekend, but I haven't watched the movie yet because my dad, he served in Vietnam. First tour was he got sent there and then volunteered to go back 2 more times. And it's, I mean, without a doubt, there's definitely PTSD issue going on there that now I recognize it. But back in the day, it was called 1,000-year stare or 1,000-yard stare. Back in World War II, it was called shell shock, the whole 9 yards. And it changes you because, I mean, he vividly remembers the propaganda and saying them coming across the loudspeakers, PA systems, and the radio saying, why are you over here fighting us when you're not even treated as an equal in your own country? We haven't done anything to you. And I mean, I can tell you after 20 years of military experience, that'll wear on you. That'll wear on you. Especially, it makes you honestly question, why am I sitting here risking life and death for people that don't appreciate me? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's just, it's one of those things. It's one of those things.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, man, I grew up, I had uncles, I had people in my neighborhood, all kinds of stuff that went to war. You see, and you know, honestly, we just thought they were crazy because we were uneducated. We labeled them as just proud of wardrobe and crazy, but we didn't like. Gerald Roy went on a little rant when he was talking about the Agent Orange that was used all through Vietnam and how they all sniffed it in and how he's not going to let that kill him and stuff like that. I mean, some things happened to those brothers over in Vietnam, bro. And not just Vietnam, other wars too, but we're just talking about Vietnam conflict right now. But I've heard, I've even met people that fought in the Korean War, and they told me stories about the Korean War. And I'm just like, whoa. I mean, I thought the Middle East is bad. What we're going through right now is not easy. We're going to have a lot of brothers coming back. We got a lot of brothers coming back now that need help. But that Vietnam was different because they didn't have the resources we have now.
But think about this. You are in a foreign country, a jungle, fighting an enemy that knows the terrain 1,000 times better than you. And you honestly can't even trust the people that came there with you because they're not really with you. You know what I mean? Like y'all are in the battle together, but y'all aren't necessarily in the battle together because a lot of them are going to try to throw you under the bus, if not kill you.
Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, can you imagine, like, how many brothers did die because they were in that hole or they were somewhere with somebody who didn't have good feelings about black people and they turned their gun around and shot them and said, oh, it was a mistake, friendly fire. Or they pushed them on the grenade, something. Or they, like they said in the movie, they sent out the most black platoons out to do the cleanup first.
Yeah.
Made it easier for the white platoons to come through afterwards. And they did that in World War I, they did that in World War II, they did that in Korea. They do that all the time. So that is true, man. Those brothers went through some things, bro.
That's why it gets on my nerve when people say shit like, "Oh, my grandfather did this and this for my country." Oh, what?
Everybody got on the
Oh, my.
called it, bro.
They had it worse. Well, they had it worse, rather. But I think another takeaway, and you touched on the PTSD, and especially that scene when he was in the boat and the guy was trying to sell him the chicken, and he didn't even realize he had issues. Remember, his son kept on saying, he talks to himself and he does this and all these outbursts and stuff like that. But if you look at how we were treated when we got back, and honestly, it's only been recently where they started really doing that big push on mental health for soldiers coming back from war. And not even some of these soldiers, it's not even war that's doing to it, it's their commands.
And
I know people that haven't been deployed that are messed up in the head because of the commands, the toxic commands they were under. And I think it's elders coming that have been to Vietnam, and they're not even getting the VA percentage yet.
A lot of people aren't even, they damn well should be getting 100% VA disability. But like my father, just here maybe a few years ago, started getting 100%. He suffers from Agent Orange. He suffers from all that stuff. And it's just, and I think it was all around in general. A lot of the people coming back didn't get the help they needed. And another thing we can do is we need to get rid of the stigmatism that seeking mental health is bad and stuff like that. I'm sure we've all done the post-deployment briefings and the pre-deployment briefings where you're sitting there with the doctor and he asks you, how often do you have a drink, or do you drink more than 1 to 2 beers a week? And I'm sitting there like, is this a trick question? 1 to 2 beers a week? It's like, come on, man, seriously? If I say yes, am I going to be labeled an alcoholic? What's going on here? Because I drink. Oh, don't even get me started.
If you drink,
I thought that was the dumbest thing.
If you drink, I'm just telling you that right now. If you drink on a decent basis, not even a regular basis, a decent basis, you ain't passing that test. You alcohol.
That was the dumbest thing. That was the dumbest thing to me, because if you admit that you drink, if you admit you drink 4 drinks a night, you're labeled an alcoholic. You're punished. You're put in ASAP. You're flagged. You're done. You're doing all this. And then if you tell them that you have a mental issue, you're flagged, you're doing this. Like, it's a punishment to go to the military and say, yo, I need help, even though it's the main stressor in your freaking life.
What up, Robert? Gonna say hi to our boy, our other brother. Robert, we're gonna get him on the camera one day. One day we're gonna get Robert on here. What's up, man? He said he can't speak fast and say Ramos said he was still living in the war in his mind. I could not even imagine. Yeah, many of them lived their entire lives with the war still on their mind. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit them thumbs up button, hit the like, love button, hit the share button, share this with your friends. It's the Distinguished Black Gentleman, Inc. We went over a few things, and right now we're just going over the 5 Bloods, the movie. We're talking about how we enjoyed the movie. At the same time, we're talking about what we saw out of the movie and some of the things because you can't not watch that movie and not have your mind go and think. If it's not, you're just dead in your mind. Because Spike put in so much stuff in there to keep our minds just going. You just really couldn't get to the movie without doing that. And Delroy, like I said, all the actors did a superb job, but Delroy his was just so emotional. This is his training day to me. Like, this is his training day right here. So Tasha said that mental health tag stays on their record, and it makes people afraid to seek the mental health care that they need. Yeah, I mean, the military doesn't, I don't know how it is now, but when I was in, they were not doing that the correct way. They were not treating people the correct way. I think they were starting to get better, but I'm not in now. I have to speak to
it's still low stigma, though. I mean, they tell people go in, seek mental health, go see the docs and stuff like that. But low key, your command is still going to treat you differently if they know that you're going to see the shrink.
It's trash, man. Like so, the military still
kind of discouraging you from doing
it. Yeah, they do. So I encourage people, especially my veterans, get out there and seek help. If you're out and you're struggling, go to the VA. I'm gonna tell you right now, the VA, though, depending on the area, but most of the VAs I've dealt with, they have a very, very good mental health program. The crisis line, if you got anybody ever in crisis, or if you're in crisis, call that line. I'm gonna tell you right now. I called it one time for a friend. They chased him down like he was the Taliban. They called him like 15 times till you answer that phone. So if you got a friend in need, don't be afraid to call. that crisis line if you can't help them. If you need help, I ran into a lot of Vietnam veterans are just now. If you go to like these services to help you apply for your disability, they're just not doing it. You see like 67-year-old men in there, and they're mostly in there still filing for their thing. So if you haven't filed for your disability rating, please do so. If you need help, some of the counties have, like when I was in Santa Clara County, they had a spot that helped with you for free. They helped you. It was just kind of hard to get in there because they were for free. And like I said, the Vietnam people are getting to the point to where they're retiring. So they're all in there trying to get their benefits. One, you had something to add? I thought I saw your hand up.
Well, with the, I kind of touched on it with the whole thing of trying to get over the stigmatism and stuff like that. But it's the same thing with, I think, how can I put this? As far as in like self-identifying, as they called it, because I had a friend that actually self-identified as when I worked at Andrews Air Force Base. Next thing you know, his top secret clearance was in jeopardy and I mean, that's money out of your pocket, especially if you're in the military under contract and that's your only means to provide for your family and you're the breadwinner of your family. Say, for instance, your spouse doesn't have a job because they're a stay-at-home parent or something like that. Why would you willingly subject yourself to that type of treatment and possibly lose? Most people that have jobs with top secret clearance, if you lose that, you can kiss away half the good jobs when you get out of the military.
Yeah.
Bro,
Clearance, and
so yeah,
it's a punishment to tell them you need help. It's a punishment.
You know, even if you need, even some of these guys, man, because you guys were you in the Army? One, I'm sorry, I don't remember what service you were.
Oh, Air Force.
You were Air Force. Cool. That means we got everybody. We got that. We don't count. We don't have the Navy though in our group.
No, we have the Navy.
Nobody in the Navy, huh? We don't count the Coast Guard.
No, not really.
Not really.
Don't do the Coast Guard like that.
Well, you know, Space Force. Space Force, they do the Coast Guard so dirty on that show.
Oh, the show? Yeah.
It's cold. It's cold.
It was bad.
I was watching it the other night.
Yeah, so that Tasha said there are a lot of resources that the VA offers that many don't know about. I'm a nurse at the VA now. You're right about that, Tasha. You have to go to the VA to find out what's going on with the VA. Period.
You know what?
Yeah, a lot of services because I went to the VA.
All the old cats put me up on game for everything with the VA.
And actually with the VA, you could, that whole shame thing in the military, it kind of goes away. Kind of benefits you to go for help with the VA because that's something you can put down on your disability rating. And once they put it in the system in the VA, it's in the system. So it's just like it's in your records just to put you on to that. Even when you go see them about mental health, tell them about your legs hurting, tell them about your back hurting, tell them about all that. They put that in the system. It's in your medical records. That's just a little tidbit for you. We're going to move on to our next topic. If you want to call in for the Blog Talk Radio, go ahead and do so now. We will be taking callers. The number is on the screen. It's 845-277-9427. We enjoyed the chats. We enjoy people tuning in via Facebook, but we would like you to join the conversation. Today, we're not really necessarily bringing people on to video because we got a full house today. But if you want to call in, please call in, and we'll bring you on so you can state your piece. You can talk about any subject that you want to. We could do, and we'll go ahead and bring that up. Robert says going to the VA, whether you feel like you need it or not, helps more VA via funding. You're right about that.
Yes.
VA always talks about how they lose millions of dollars because it's not being used. Stu in there shooting his shot. Hi, Tasha. I'm in the VA too. Stop shooting your shot in the text.
Inappropriate.
Go to the DM.
I tell people all the time, though. I tell the people all the time, though, like, go to the VA and use it. Like, go to the VA and use it. If they're going to give you machines to help you out, don't try to be a tough guy. I don't need this. I don't need that. Use it. That's going in your file. That's helping your case. Don't sit out here and like deny treatment because you want to be tough and you want to remain this persona. Like, this is helping your livelihood here.
The one thing you need to know about the government is if they don't spend the money, they don't get the money back. The more money they spend, the more they can put into their allocations. So go use that money. If you still got a GI Bill, use that GI Bill.
Use it.
Use it. And I'm telling you right now, that VA disability stipend helps a lot.
Also, if you exhausted your GI Bill, they have I think it's the MRAP program where they give you it's just like GI Bill, but it's vocational training too, and they pay for it. Housing allowance, all that type of stuff in there as well.
They have the voc rehab program.
Yeah, that's voc rehab too.
I think it's 10% or more. You qualify for the voc rehab program. So yeah. So that can help you go all the way through your master's degree.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I used to voc rehab for my undergrad.
Yes, we served together, Ramos. Man, I talked to my boy Ramos today, man. I met Ramos when I was 18 years old, bro. I'm 30 now. That was a long time, and I still remember I met him. That was a long time ago doing chow hall duty, bro. I had to do chow hall duty for the range. All right, let's move on to our next subject. We're going to talk about the NBA because it's been a lot of crap going on between them. Kyrie Irving seemed to have stirred up a lot going on, and it's a back and forth. It's like an internal battle right now. The players, just to let you know, we're doing a little background on it. I'm going to read just from NBC Sports. The players did a meeting about a week ago. Most of the main players, they did a Zoom. It was about 80 NBA players, and some of them vocally hesitant to restart the season. The call included Donovan Mitchell, Carmelo Anthony, Joel Embiid, Malcolm Brogdon, who is that? Avery Bradley, Mike Conley, Dwight Howard, and many more. And a couple of those, like Dwight Howard, has been vocal about it. Pretty much Kawhi, I'm not gonna. So, but pretty much what Kyrie Irving said is, I don't support going into Orlando. I'm not with the systematic racism and the bullshit. I'll say bullshit. Something smells a little fishy here. And you got a lot of other players like what's his name? Kyle Kuzma ended up making a tweet saying that some players want to play. He wants to play. LeBron wants to play. Pat Beverly came out and said if LeBron gonna play, we all need to play. One thing that a lot of people are trying to get to these players who don't want to play is that they are going to lose money. They're going to lose a lot. Some people are saying 300 million. I've seen close to $1 billion. And the reason why they're going to lose this money is because of the collective bargaining agreement. The players get a piece of what those TV contracts pay out. So go ahead, guys. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on what Kyrie said. I don't disagree with Kyrie. From just to say, I don't disagree with what he's saying, but he also needs to realize that he's a grown man and he's in the business, and that business pays for his lifestyle. So, and plus, in my mind, get that money so you can put it back in the community. We need that money. So you already got cars, you already got mansions, you already got girls, you already been on trips. Take that money and put it back in the community because we need that. That's what these brothers should have been doing for a long time, but it wasn't really happening. They was just building maybe boys and girls clubs or putting little programs together. But put some right where LeBron doing. Build a school. Put your money in if you're tired of the systematic racism, Kyrie, you got millions of dollars that you can influence political stuff. You can go to your politicians and say, I'll donate to your campaign if you fight for what I need you to fight for. All right, guys, that's my thoughts. Angel, you go ahead and give us your thoughts on what you think.
I'm kind of even. I can see both sides, and definitely I agree with use that money to further the cause. LeBron is a perfect example. He's been doing that even prior to everything going on recently. He's been that guy that's taken that money that he's made and put back into the community, trying to help the people out and everything like that. And I think it was me and Courtney were talking not too long ago about LeBron, saying that he needs that face time, because it's not just the money that he makes, but it's also the influence that he has on other people that might otherwise not be interested in the cause. And they see LeBron face still out there, still playing and seeing what he's doing, might influence them to do that. But then on the other side of the ticket, I can also understand, his stuff is about sacrifice also. Some people feel as though, morally and ethically that they can't do it. It's a personal type of thing, and it's going to be different for each brother that's saying that they don't want to play. So I can't really dig them on that because they might look at it as, it's worth it. It's worth that billions of dollars that I might lose out on because the cause is bigger than myself, is bigger than the kids and the cars and everything like that. But like I said, and even the brothers that just want to do it because they want to make money. I can understand that. You got children, you have spouses, you have your loved ones that you're taking care of through that money that you're making playing ball. And that's a big thing to ask somebody to say, okay, this is your bread and butter. Give all of that up, and to fight the cause. Your 5-year-old's not going to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Your 2-year-old is not going to understand that. You got to keep a roof over their head. So it's weighted on both sides. And each side has good reason to do what they want to do. So I can't really take a side on it saying, okay, I would definitely do this, because I can see both sides. And at the end, it's a personal choice.
All right, Courtney, go ahead and give us your 2 cents on what's been going on in the NBA and what Kyrie says.
Like Angel, I see both sides, but I think they should play. Like you said, I read an article that said that they could lose up to $1.2 billion. That's way too much money to just leave out there. And by them not playing, I mean, it will take some spotlight away from the protest, but it will also bring a lot of light to the protest as well. The funny thing about it is Kyrie is doing this, but Kyrie wasn't going to Orlando anyway. Kyrie just had surgery. They told him that he couldn't go to Orlando. So he's not even scheduled to be down there. So I don't see why he's telling everybody else not to. But like the NBA is going to allow people to participate if they want to. If they don't want to because of coronavirus or whatever, they won't. So I don't really see an issue. If you don't want to participate, don't participate. I will say that the fewer NBA players that actually participate and they go into the G League, it will start making the league look bad because it's going to be a watered down championship on that case. If you have one team with 6 G Leaguers on it, it's just invalidating the whole season, really.
Yep. I mean, like we said, them dudes make a lot of money. I just personally think, like you said, Kyrie ain't going down there anyway. But I think if players don't show up, it affects all of their paychecks, even the ones who don't show up, even the ones who ain't supposed to go.
And you need their money, bro.
I understand. I get. I'm really with these youngsters, these new generation, like in Kyrie age group. I'm a little older than him. I like the fight in them. I really do like the response. But at the same time, we got to think about what will be best for our community. Economics is the best for our community, in my mind. You take that. Since you want to stop the systematic racism, take that money, stop buying the cars, stop partying, put that money back into the community. I just want to say what Antonio said real quick. I'll get back to you, Courtney. Bruh, movement's all about sacrifice. Kyrie knows that. And it's not only LeBron that's building schools and programs, many athletes do that. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, Jalen Rose had a school up way before LeBron. Deion Sanders had a school up for a long time. There's other players who don't get that. LeBron's just the biggest name. And when he does it, it means a little bit, just a little bit more because of the exposure LeBron has and because of who he is. He's like the 4th highest earning athlete in the world, like barely under soccer players. All right, Courtney, go ahead. What you got to say?
When you say stuff like, what did Stu just say?
He said,
the sacrifices. You got to think of who's going to make most of the sacrifices. In this case, the players are making most of the sacrifices because the guy that owns the Clippers is worth $55 billion. He's going to be all right.
He's going to make his money off Microsoft.
He's going to be all right. Those players, everybody don't make LeBron money. Everybody don't make Kyrie money. So, you know what I mean? And they have charities. They have stuff. They have things that they have to run too. So it's bigger than that, man. Like they need to just go out there. I think they did add too many teams, but they need to go out there, do what they got to do, make that money, secure it, and then pay it forward.
Juan, you got anything to add to this?
I honestly believe it comes down to their own personal choices. I mean, just like in all things, make a personal choice, but be willing to stand beside it and pay the consequences for whatever happens. It's kind of like everybody screaming, "Oh, freedom of speech, freedom of speech." and you'll see it a lot on Facebook, especially with the issues going on nowadays. Everybody's screaming about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech gives you the right to say what you want without being prosecuted for it, not persecuted for it. So if you go on your job screaming and hollering this, that, or the other, your boss still got the right to fire you. You know what I'm saying? It just means you won't get arrested.
You come in my house screaming another, I got a reason to punch you in your face.
You know what I'm saying? It keeps you from getting arrested, not fired, beat up, or anything like that, you know?
Yeah, you're right. All right, so we're gonna move on then. Since everybody said what they said, I hope they work something out. Like I said, I think it'll be just better for the community if they're able to play and they're able to get paid. And hopefully those brothers take that anger and put it back into the community. So we're gonna move on to, but we're still in sports because NASCAR is a sport. We gonna talk about our boy, our brother out there racing cars, Bubba Wallace. Our new, I'm gonna call him Bubba Wallace jacket. Bubba went in, man. I mean, I wasn't shocked that I know a little bit about Bubba Wallace, but I wasn't shocked that he spoke. I was shocked at NASCAR's response. That's what really made me like, whoa, NASCAR did that quick. It's like they planned that or something. It's like they said, Bubba, go out there and say something so we can have an excuse. But Bubba came out, he spoke up, and what I'm gonna do is just pull up real quickly exactly what Bubba said, and that way we can have something to reference. Because Bubba actually spoke out something that I probably would have said too. Because it gotta be hard to be a black NASCAR racer, man. It gotta be tough. You gotta have his challenges, especially as big as he is. So there we go. Let's get to it. I thought I had already gotten to it. My bad, y'all. There we go. Oops. There we go. Bubba Wallace. What I'm chasing is a checker flag, and that was kind of my narrative, he told CNN on Monday. But diving more into educating myself, people feel uncomfortable with that. People talk about that. That's the first thing they bring up. He added, my next step will be to get rid of all Confederate flags. No one should feel uncomfortable when they come to NASCAR race. So it starts with the Confederate flag. Get them out of here. They have no place for them. So it sounds like Bubba was kind of speaking up more for the fans than himself. You know, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of black NASCAR fans out there. You know, I have a family member who's a huge NASCAR fan, and he's the one who showed me that NASCAR ain't just about driving cars around the track. He even went out to Talladega. He's probably one of 20 black people in that whole crowd. So Bubba's actually kind of sound like to me, Bubba was actually speaking from a fan's perspective, like what his fans have to go through. He's like, I'm driving the car, I'm chasing the checker flag, but my fans got to sit up in this thing and they got to hear all this stuff and they got to see this Confederate flag. What do you guys think about Bubba Wallace and what he said? And do you think he did something brave or he just did his just duty? Go ahead, Juan. You speak first this time.
In all honesty, I'd say it's brave because, I mean, let's just be 100% real here. We've already broken into hockey. We established well in football, boxing, basketball, and anything like that. NASCAR was one of the few sports where pretty much hardly any of us in there. So not only did he break into it, he literally is now kicking down the door saying, you're going to accept me. It's, I mean, I got nothing but admiration for him. To me, he's courageous. He's courageous. Because he just said, enough's enough. I'm not going to put up with a Confederate flag being waved in my face or anything like that. And once again, people screaming, hollering about freedom of speech and everything like that. Well, yeah, you do have freedom of speech, but when NASCAR, who owns it, says, hey, we're not having it, then you can get the hell on with your freedom of speech. You know, It's one of those things where I got admiration for him. I think what he's doing is brave because I'm pretty sure he's had more than a few death threats. But hey, sometimes you got to take that first courageous step that everybody else is too afraid to take to actually enforce a change.
All right, Angel, let us know what you think about what Bubba did. And
I think it was courageous, absolutely. He took a big risk. You know what I'm saying? He took a big risk, not just for his career, but to his life also. Because, like Juan said, I'm sure he got some death threats. I'm sure it probably, put a little pressure on his family and everything like that. But I guess he just saw, right is right and wrong is wrong, and somebody at some point has to say something, and this is a perfect opportunity for for brothers now to actually show up, you know, and go to some of these races instead of just having to watch them on TV because they didn't feel comfortable enough doing it. But I think, like you said earlier, I was really surprised that at NASCAR, you know, and NASCAR did what the NFL should have did off jump, you know. But what I understand is NASCAR tried to do this some time ago, right? Back
They
in
tried to do it in 2018,
2015.
2000. They tried to do it a couple times.
Yeah.
They tried to do it when Dylan Roof shot up the church.
Decent. They tried to ask me, hey, don't bring your Confederate flags. We're gonna try to, you know, change our image and all that kind of stuff. They tried to give the fans that opportunity to kind of change the image. You know, they're always screaming how they're not racist and everything. Well, here's a chance for you to show that, and they didn't want to do it. So NASCAR did it for them, you know. But I'm gonna tell you something. They're not really gonna lose no money because those people that are dedicated to NASCAR, you know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna go nowhere. They ain't gonna go nowhere. They're gonna still spend their money and stuff like that. You might have kind of like those lukewarm guys that just say, you know, they into it because, you know, where they're from, whatever like that. They might drop off, but NASCAR ain't gonna lose any money.
It's gonna be more brothers at NASCAR. I promise you that. It's gonna be way. And look, we actually educated someone. Will Roman said, "What, a brother driving in NASCAR? That is commendable." So he didn't even know that a brother was driving in NASCAR because, like Juan said, man, that is just one of these one sport areas that they really kept us out of. All right, Courtney, you got anything you want to actually, Courtney? Let me go ahead and read this real quick. I'm gonna read on what NASCAR said in their statement when they blocked this thing. Let's go. Man, I wish this one had started all the way over. That's the one problem with this platform. I can't really get it going. So let's go. The presence of the Confederate flag at NASCAR events run contrary to our commitment to providing a welcoming and inclusive environment for all fans, our competitors, and our industry. Bringing people together around a love for racing and the community that it creates is what makes our fans and sport special. The display of the Confederate flag will be prohibited from all NASCAR events and properties. And that's straight off of NASCAR.com. That is where they got their statement at. Sounds like they got rid of a bunch of boomers in their executive office because that ain't happened in a while. I mean, that's good on NASCAR. All right, Courtney, go ahead and give your thoughts about Bubba Wallace and maybe what NASCAR said.
I was just gonna say that he just opened that thing wide open, man. He just opened it wide up. Like, we finna go in there and take over. I can. We do it in every sport. So it's just another avenue. We're gonna go in, kick it. I can see people now being comfortable to go races. There's a lot of people out there that love NASCAR. I'm not one of them, but you know, the jackets are fresh. So I might have to feel young again. But other than that, man, I commend the young fella. Like, man, I'm proud of the whole group of athletes we have going on today, man. Basketball, the football players just stood up, NASCAR. So it's just a good group of guys we got coming up, man.
Yeah, we didn't get this, man. Unfortunately, we didn't get this during the late 80s and the 90s. Seemed like we had a bunch of brothers that was just more concerned about their money, their image. So they kind of kept their mouth closed a lot. That's why I love Kareem so much. You know, you guys ask me, I love him because of his play, but I also love him because he came when Kareem opens his mouth, profound things come out of Kareem's mouth.
Yeah.
Even during the time where it was dangerous for him to fight for us. So I commend these young brothers. I'm so proud of them. I love seeing how they respond. And I know, like he said, LeBron is not the only person, but he is the number one. And people are following. I believe people are following behind him.
You got to realize LeBron has about 125 million followers on his social media platform. So, I mean, you can say somebody else started it before, but LeBron is going to get more eyes on the situation.
Exactly. Any closing statement on this before we move on?
No.
All right. So I'm going to put you fellas on mute. Y'all can go take a pee, y'all can go eat, or y'all can sit down. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again. We are on the Distinguished Black Gentleman Inc. show. We're going Blog Talk Radio. We're going live on Facebook. We're going live on YouTube. You can visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/DBGINC. That is our Facebook page. I put the YouTube because we aren't qualified yet to get a YouTube custom URL, so it's a little hard to say that one. Got a bunch of squiggly line, but I did put that in the chat. So go visit us on YouTube. Go on Blog Talk Radio. You can search us out. We are in the cultural entertainment section, and also you can listen to some of our old recorded shows, and you can listen to our live shows on your way out. Like if you don't have time to see us on the live stream, you still have time to call in. We're going to take some calls, maybe the last 10 minutes. But before we do that, we're going to go into the moderator's rant. This is where I rant, or anybody who's the moderator for that day rants about a certain subject that's been floating around. Today, what I want to talk about today is a subject that's been really talked about a lot before, but this last week I've been hearing it a lot, and that is Black women are really feeling unprotected right now. And the main people that they're feeling unprotected by are us, Black men. And it's not really like they're looking out at white men and saying something to them. They're looking at us like, what are we doing? And it's apparent if you actually look at the numbers of how many Black women are becoming missing. They're starting to outnumber some of the states' numbers of people total missing. As Black women, we see what happened to that sister earlier when she went out to fight for our rights and her rights for all Black people, and she ended up getting kidnapped, assaulted, raped, and then murdered by a Black man. That is pathetic. That is really sad. And honestly, sisters have been saying this for a long time, and we've just been arguing back and forth with them because we feel like we are protecting them. But one thing I learned over lifetime is if someone keeps telling you how they feel, you got to acknowledge it at some point. No matter what you feel like you're doing, no matter what you feel like you're saying, no matter what action steps you're going, if they continuously feel like something is going on, they continuously feel like they're unprotected, then guess what? They're unprotected. And honestly, the statistics show it. We're not protecting them. We're not doing what's right. Now, I am not saying that everybody has to put their life on the line, but if you think about it, man, Black Lives Matter is ran by Black women. Black women are running these protests. And when they go out here and do these protests, they actually are putting their lives on the line. There are people getting hit in the head with these gas cans. There are people getting ran over by cars. There are people like we just saw this lady. She got kidnapped when she was looking for someone to actually help her. She got kidnapped. She got raped. She got killed. And there was another woman with her that was killed too. So what I'm saying to us as Black men is we just need to check ourselves and say, I know some of us feel like we're doing our job by protecting our nieces, by protecting our daughters, by protecting our wives, by protecting our girlfriends. But those are the people close to us. Not everybody has that. Not everybody has somebody in the house to protect them. I watched a video earlier. I can't remember what state. I'm thinking it's Florida, where a white man attacked a group of young Black girls walking down the street in their neighborhood. And he was telling them that they didn't live there. He was threatening them. And it just so happened that their grandfather was in the house. And he was a pretty big dude. He came out and he shut it down. So think about if that man was not in that house, what would have happened to those girls? So Black women, I want you to understand that a lot of us aren't trying to argue with you anymore. We got a group of brothers out here who do consider you as a treasure, and we do want to protect you. You are our mothers, you are our aunts, you are our grandmas, you are our sisters, you are our daughters. I have a Black daughter, I have a Black mom, I don't have a Black girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend at all. But in that sense, I'm still willing to step up and say that I'm here if you need me. If you need us, if you need any of the brothers, let us know. You can email us. One thing that I can say is that if you are a martial arts or you are into weapons training, start putting that content out there. Start reaching out to the Black community and start training us so we can defend ourselves in these scenarios. So our Black women can defend themselves in this scenario. Black men can be more capable of defending themselves or protecting our Black women. Reach out to us if you're having a hard time with this coronavirus, if you're a martial arts teacher and you're trying to get your content out there. There's plenty of places out there for you to do it. I can show you how to put up your own site. I can show you how to put up your YouTube content. I can show you how to promote. We got other people who can do that. I can connect you with people who can do that. We need to get this out here so we can start protecting ourselves and we can start protecting our women more, because we got Black people getting hung right now. They talking about suicide. That ain't suicide. Those people ain't climbing up on no tree, putting no rope on there and putting it around their necks and killing them like that. We know why that is happening. We know that is happening because it's a response to the climate. They're trying to show us that we're still in check. So please, like I said, if you can, black women, black men, we need to stop arguing. We need to stop fighting each other. We need to realize that we're all in this fight together. All right. That's the end of my rant. I didn't want it to go too long. I'm going to unmute my brothers because they can have their closing statements. And hold on, let's go ahead and get some of the Facebook people in here. We got Fist in here from Oscar Mike. Got Fist going on there. And I hope everybody was paying attention. You can always catch the recording. Like I said, on Blog Talk Radio, you can catch the recording on our Facebook page. You can catch the recording on our YouTube page if you want to go over these contents. All right, brothers, you got any closing statements before we get up out of here?
Everybody be safe. Be aware of your surroundings at all times, and just continue doing what you're doing.
Check up on your people. During this whole COVID-19 thing, people have been, kind of hermited in their homes and haven't been doing much contact with other people. So, give somebody a call, check up on them, just to see how they're doing. I know me and the brothers, we always in our chat together and always interacting with each other. So we got that, but sometimes we forget we got other people too, and for y'all out there, if y'all ever want to talk to any of us or anything like that, hit us up. We can talk about anything.
Juan, you got any closing words for us, brother?
Yeah, actually, I would just say something that we touched on earlier today. If you're out there and you're having problems, don't fall in that stigma trap of seeking help as a weakness or anything like that. Go get yourself help, seriously. And like Tasha was saying, she listed a lot of things the VA does that I didn't even know about. So it's one of those things where ask. You never know what you'll learn, but go get help. For the life of God, nothing in your life is worth killing yourself over, hurting yourself, or taking other people out for it. It's one of those things where forget the stigma. Go get yourself some help.
Right on. I agree with everything they just said. I try to call out to some of my friends and check on them. I'm here by myself, so I know they're out there struggling. So if you can, please give people a call. We got somebody in the chat with Spanish. Like, let's see what they said. Can you understand that, Angel?
No, that look like Portuguese.
That's Portuguese. Okay. All right, cool. Sorry, you're gonna have to hit the translate button for us. All right, is there anybody out there who want to leave some last chats for us? Honestly, I really want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we're just a group of brothers, man. We all get together we talk about subjects, we talk about topics, different various things. We help each other out. We wanted to bring this out to you all because we felt like we had some good thoughts. We felt like we had some good sayings, and we know that we want you all to interact in our conversations too. So that's why we do this show. We also want to help build. Next week, we'll be back on Thursday at 9:00 again. We're going to have my boy Jason Warner. Jason has an NPO, and we're going to promote that. We're going to try to get some donations going for his NPO because we know Jason wants to do some good work out here. We are working on trying to get you guys notified a little bit more earlier with flyers and things of that nature, but just deal with us because we ain't professionals. We're just a bunch of brothers that's going live and talking. All right, so we're going to go ahead and end this show once again. Like I said, thank you, everybody, for showing up. Go to blogtalkradio.com, look us up. You can find us in there. If you want to see the recording, go to YouTube, look us up. You can find us up and go to our, please go to our Facebook page. Hit us up with some likes. Hit us off with some shares. Y'all have a great night. Let's continue to build. We're going to end this broadcast now.